If you're ready, we're going to start the City of Spencer regular City Council meeting. Time now is, just 1 second. Okay, we're going to start the City of Spencer regular City Council meeting. The time now is 7:01 p.m. Can I get a roll call, please?
Trustee Councilmember Kennedy. Here. Trustee Councilmember Beard. Present. Trustee Councilmember Williams. Vice Chairman Vice Mayor Scanlon.
Here.
Chairman Mayor Calvin.
Okay, we do have a quorum present. Item number 3 on our agenda. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I don't know.
I was looking at running concurrently because there's only one.
Okay, so
I need you to go ahead. Okay, and we're going to also, since we've only got one business item, we're going to run the utility authority meeting concurrently. The time now, we're going to run them both concurrently. Can we get a roll call for the utility authority? Also. Sorry.
Trustee Kennedy. Here. Trustee Beard. Present. Trustee Williams. Present. Vice Chairman Scanlon.
Here.
Chairman Calvin.
Yes. Okay, we do have a form present for the utility authority. We're going to run both meetings concurrently since we only have one. Our items are all the same, so it doesn't mean that we'll be one. Okay. Item number 3 on our agenda is invitations. Last week on our invitation, Mr. Scanlon, our last meeting. Let's pray. Father, we come to you this afternoon, just thank you once again for allowing us to have this day. We ask that you just continue to watch over us and guide us as we can sit here and conduct the City of Spencer's business. We ask that you bless those in attendance, those that want to be here but for whatever reason. Father, we ask a blessing to the households that are represented in this city. We ask that you just continue to let us do the things that's going to lead this city to its path to greatness. We ask that you just continue to allow us a safe passage to and fro. We ask that you allow us to return to our homes in a safe manner and find it in a good condition or a better condition than when we left it. We ask all these things in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Item number 4 on our agenda is citizens desiring to be heard. We have one person that's asked to speak, and that's Ms. Christina Mahoney. Ms. Mahoney, we're going to give you 6 minutes.
Oh, excuse me, I turned in 4.
Yes, but
that's 3 minutes each. That's 12 minutes.
It's 3 minutes per person to speak, so you're going to have.
It doesn't say that anywhere, sir.
Ma'am,
it
you got 6 minutes. Your time is 7:04, and your time is moving.
No, excuse me. No. I also have a question for your city attorney. It's about an email that I got from Ms. Cecilia, and I asked for some records, and it was for all the emails from you city council people that your city attorney said was open records, and she said I needed to put down a $50 deposit, and I said, and you guys passed a fee schedule that does not go into effect for 30 days according to the ordinances. And she said I had to put down a $50 deposit. Your fee schedule has not gone into effect yet. She said the city attorney stated that a deposit needs to be placed for the copies. Is that correct, Mr. Ray Vincent?
We passed the fee schedule, I think in June, by resolution.
17th.
The resolution doesn't have an emergency clause or non-emergency clause. The resolution goes into effect immediately.
Excuse
Whatever
me,
date that was in June 17th.
I have the ordinance here. Every ordinance except an emergency ordinance shall go into effect 30 days after its final passage unless it specifies a later date. Would you like to see this?
This wasn't an ordinance, this was a resolution.
Nowhere does it say, no. Here, let me show you. Here is what you put on here. Well, you know what, it does not say it's a resolution, but you guys said it was an ordinance.
You said there wasn't an ordinance in
First
effect,
of
so we
all,
had
what is your
to
address?
Oh, no, if I have to say my address and you guys are videoing this, then each and every single council member that is also on this video needs to say their address too.
Well, that's normal, when we go see, we get their address in the minutes.
You have my address in the minutes too, you have my participation form in
Please
there.
give your address, please.
I will give your address.
That's fine.
Okay, your address, Mr. Frank Calvin, is
Miss Christina Mahoney.
8617 Honey Locust Drive, Spencer, Oklahoma.
Yes, ma'am, that is where I live.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Now, give your address, please, ma'am, for the record.
It is in the papers.
Ma'am, please.
I would like you to tell me where it says that my address needs to be on the internet. I am not a public official.
You're speaking as a.
I'm asking the attorney a question. May I please have this solved?
Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead. Your time is running.
No, I asked the attorney a question.
You got 3 more minutes.
No, I do not. My time has not started. I asked,
Started at 7:04.
no. I need to know about what the city attorney says about this. Because this starts my very first question.
Well, let's not terribly confused. We passed the resolution, but not confused.
The resolution that you posted online isn't dated. This came straight off of your website. It is not dated. Would you like to pull up your website and look? There's no date. I can bring this up for you to look at. It is not dated. It's signed, but it is not dated.
You know, I may be confused. I thought we passed the resolution.
You did, but it's not dated. What you put up online is not dated. I'm more than happy to pay it. It's not dated.
Can I ask a quick question? Maybe we can just.
Her time is running.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, my time is not.
Well, you spoke over time too, so please
Yeah,
don't
you
come at
did,
me
you
and say
did.
that.
My time's not started. I haven't even asked my question.
7:04.
No, and he's been talking in it too, so my time hasn't started.
This allowing citizens to participate is by policy of the council. The council does not even have to allow citizens to participate, but apparently they did sometime in the past. It says here that they can give talk 3 minutes on any item on the agenda. Well,
It doesn't say that anywhere in the ordinance.
we've been lax on that. We let people talk on anything if they want, but the policy appears to say any item on the agenda.
I would like you
I
to show
don't
that to
know
me.
what, really the intent is. That policy probably ought to be addressed again by the board and say, do you want to have and make the board decision. Is it 3 minutes per request, or is it 3 minutes total per person? That's kind of confusing, and so, and also, you want to let them talk on any item on the agenda, or anything they want to talk about that pertains to the city. It seems to me like our habit has been any item on the city, because there's things on here that are not on the agenda.
There's nothing on the agenda.
My thinking is, give them 6 minutes.
I just want to get back to this. I asked a question about this email.
When I double check the resolution, and if there was a resolution, it goes into effect immediately, not after 30 days. And if that's effect, and if I'm thinking is correct, then anything that request that came in after, June 17th, we can charge. Any request that came in before, we may have had a fee schedule on we can find it. So anything that came in before June 17th, we're not gonna charge.
So, Mr. Vincent, are you saying that since we have determined that this is a resolution, that we are going to, we're gonna look at this more stringently than the actual law provides? If that's what we're saying, then we definitely need to set that out, because the law says that once the fee schedule is posted, it becomes in effect 30 days after such posting. If we're gonna say that, you know, that, I'm just asking for, I'm trying to help provide some clarity here so we can move forward.
I'll be glad to look at it, but not right now.
But that came up last meeting, we had this exact same discussion, and you said it could not be found in the ordinances, so you were gonna look deeper into the ordinances to figure out exactly how it needed to be added on, so we went ahead and added on a fee schedule. It was supposed to be then added into the ordinances because there wasn't one showing.
And that was mentioned at the meeting, that this wouldn't go into effect for 30 days.
It was discussed.
It was discussed, and it said 30 days. It was specifically mentioned by Tony, 30 days, ordinance for 30 days.
Okay, hold on. We're getting complete off track.
No, that's,
Let me finish.
okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
We're at the point where citizens are deciding to be heard. We need to hear what you got to say,
Yes.
okay? State your comment, and you've got 4 minutes left.
No.
Okay? Yes, ma'am.
I would ask him a question before it even started.
You got
My
4 minutes
first-
left. 4
No,
minutes left, and
Excuse
nobody.
me.
You
I
got 4 minutes
can't.
left.
I need to ask him this so I can start on my first one. I was told by your city clerk that she couldn't give me the information until I paid a $50 deposit, and your city attorney said yes. But from what I was told at the last meeting, that you can't charge me for 30 days. And so now she wants $50. So, and he said I had to pay a deposit. Well, he's the attorney, so does he say I have to pay this deposit? And then, according to your fee schedule, if I have to pay a deposit, it says that she wants to charge me $50 because it's for clerical personnel, it's $15 an hour. Well, in her email, she said that her intern prints things, not her. I have that email here. And then who's to say, it says a search fee, which is the $15 an hour, a search fee shall be charged for a requester who is using the record solely for a commercial purpose, which I am not, I am a citizen, or when the request would clearly cause excessive disruption of the essential functions of the public body. All she has to do is on the emails is click search Frank Calvin, and then it pulls them all up, you click them and you hit print. How is that excessive time? That takes about 2 minutes if you're pecking with one finger. So who decides that it's excessive time? If I have to put a deposit down, I'm more than happy to pay. I'll give you $1. And then I would like somebody other than her to tell me how much it costs to do that. Because we all know printing out emails is so easy to do. Not you, I was asking the city attorney.
In terms of whether it was a resolution or ordinance, I'll have to check on that later.
You can check the council minutes from last month. It was at the very end of the meeting. It was brought up, it was called an ordinance, and it was told 30 days. It's very easy, it's online. Everybody here has a cell phone, we can all pull it up. And that leads me to my very first public speaking form that I turned in, which my minutes have not started.
You have 1 minute left.
Oh, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I've been talking to him. You cannot do that, Mr. Mayor. Just like we talked at the last council meeting, and he told me I had time for each one of these. So thank you, Mr. Mayor. You cannot cut me off. I'm still talking to him.
I'm gonna say the last time, I'll check into it and see.
So
We're not gonna do it right now.
You have 1 minute left.
And we'll get you that answer.
You have
So I will start with my first one out of 4, which is 3 minutes each.
You're not being nice.
You are not being nice. Violations of Open and Records Act. I have been requesting records from City Hall since the end of May 2021. It started with an email to Shamia Jackson. The tone of the email was quickly changed from cordial to tense, as Shamia went from sharing information to refusing to give information, and then I was told I had to request in writing, which I guess email isn't, to pay a fee. So I did request in writing and attempted to see the fee, and it was nowhere to be found. While waiting for the fee to be found, I was refused the information I requested, which is against the law, I do believe. Then I was told I had to wait until after the council meeting where a new fee would be set, which is against the law. As we all know, you cannot back charge a fee or charge a fee for 30 days. On top of that, I have request form after request form that Cecilia has written none, not available, and such verbiage on it. I have copies. I have gotten every other page copied of information, and Cecilia still to this date, this was written yesterday, has refused to make corrections. Cecilia keeps trying to charge me for copies, even though that she knows she can't charge for 30 days because you guys said it was an ordinance. To this date, I still have not received some of these items I have requested.
Ms. Mahoney,
You back up.
Don't do that. Stop. Frank, please tell them to stop.
You
Do not do that.
You are gonna end up with us on the news. Now, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
your time is up.
No, it's
Your
not.
time is up. Your time is
Just a
up.
minute, you have my ass to come over here so you.
Let's stop. Let's stop.
You go call your supervisor.
Everyone, let's stop.
Hey,
Let's
You are
stop.
Call your
Let's,
supervisor.
Miss Mahoney.
Miss Wise, Miss Wise,
Your time is up.
let's stop.
Your time is
Let's
up.
stop, please.
Your time is up.
Let's stop.
Your time is up.
Mr. Calvin,
It's-
in the meeting that we had, let me stop, please, please. But Mr. Calvin, we did have a meeting previously where, Mr. Vincent told her she had certain minutes on each concern. You may not like it, you don't like it,
Time is up.
but you gotta, it is not. You have to,
Let me
my Lord, please, operate in deference to the people.
Time is up.
Let me suggest this, I'll look into whether the board is ready, and I'll put an answer on that. I would suggest that you be given 6 minutes, and you'll start talking about your issues.
I can talk about the rest of them in 6 minutes.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Time's running.
I'm speaking. Citizens desiring to be heard. I want to start out by saying, I'm sorry to all the citizens in Spencer. I'm sorry that 3/5 of our city council here believe they don't need to answer to the citizens. There are 3 council members who do not answer their cell phones when citizens call them. They do not return phone calls when citizens leave voicemails. So I believe they had the city manager get them new cell phones, paid for by the city. The city did not have council approval. The city did not have a requisition form. I have proof of that. So, the only way citizens can be heard is to speak at city council meetings. You get to sign up for noon the day before, the Wednesday before. The meeting comes and the mayor says, you can't speak because it's not on the agenda. Well, this isn't posted anywhere. Check the city ordinances. Nothing listed there. Sorry, Mayor, you can't enforce that. It doesn't exist. But why don't you want to listen to your citizens? Why don't you want to hear what their concerns are? Didn't we elect you into your seat? Isn't it that why you're there? And why have we not heard from Renita on anything? She just sits there and doesn't discuss anything. Not once have you fought for us citizens. Not even to correct the budget. We've had horrible mistakes. 3 of you didn't even try to correct that budget. Please, you guys have to let us be heard and not shut us up. Or step down, let someone who's going to help us. City parks. The June 17th council meeting, you decided to fire all the park board members. You do have the right to do that, but you said it was because they were not having meetings and because they were not maintaining the parks. You even had a slideshow showing how bad 2 of the parks in the area were. Jim, you tried to sound concerned, but if you looked in the slideshow, it was dated May 22nd. Almost a month had passed. I myself went to the park the next day, and then on June 26th, and again today, and those parks are still in the same shape. On the top of our budget report, there's a parks employee. We also have a budget to maintain the parks. Why don't you fire that person? You look at the city code of ordinance, it does not say the parks board is to maintain the parks, but the park employee is. Finally, you said there's a deadline with Freeland Park. Why are you not advertising for a new park board? Why is there no mention of the park tonight? When are you going to get involved with the citizens of growing that park? I have a copy of that park assessment in here if you want to look at it. I have pictures of the park, what it looks like 20 minutes ago. City boards and committees. Since the city council fired all the park board members for not having monthly meetings, you would think you would do that to all the other boards. You don't look like you single out the parks board. And after looking through the city ordinances, come across some interesting information. The ordinance says whenever a member of a board is absent for more than one half of all meetings of the boards held within any period of 4 consecutive months, the member shall cease to hold office. It also states there shall be at least one regular member meeting each month. In contacting City Hall, I was notified 2 different times the Board of Adjustments and the Board of Economic Development has not met at all this year. That translates to, there's no one on those boards anymore. They can't be there. Please immediately advertise for new people to replace the old people who are not doing their job. As for the planning board, their last meeting was April. Only 3 of them showed up. So at the very least, Evelyn Briggs and Tracy Smith are no longer supposed to be on the board. To this date, the city has not provided any proof of the meeting this month. If there was no meeting, then the whole board ceases to exist. Please acknowledge the fact that they no longer exist and put new people in there. People who are ready to do this job and to take those seats. Take them all out and don't put them back in. I have proof of everything that I just said. Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on. Item number 5 on our agenda is new business. We don't have anything at this point in time. Item number 6 is 6.1, approval ratification of the joint city council and utility authority meeting minutes for May 20th, 2021. Approval ratification of the joint city council and utility authority meeting minutes from June 30th, 2021.
Can I have item number 6.1?
Oh,
I'm sorry, my apologies.
6.3, approval ratification of the June 2021 bi-weekly payroll and accounts payable.
Well, actually, in 6.3. Can we address them individually, please?
You want to go on for anything?
I just asked the top.
Alright, since that's been done, let's move to item number 7, discussion, consideration, of possible action on items removed from the consent docket. We'll start with 6.1.
Okay, 6.1, my rationale for doing that, as I looked through the minutes, I did not find the discussion, what I said in there anywhere in the minutes. The beginning of that meeting, I believe, had to do with the absence, presence, and notification of Ms. Kennedy during that time, Councilman Kennedy, and myself. As I looked through those minutes, there's nothing there. And that was quite a lengthy discussion. What that did for me was cause me to even look further. I find also, I think it's in item, I just want to bear why I do not want, why I'm having concerns with this. A later item in there, let's see, maybe it's in 7 or something of the minutes. Instead of actually writing even short details about the discussion, it was written to look at the YouTube video if you want to know what the discussion is. That's a problem There are a lot of, even if we watch these YouTube videos, when they are posted, it's difficult to hear. And we have a lot of citizens that don't do that. I think if we are trying to provide that as an alternative method to actually writing the minutes and having the script, that's a problem. That's a problem to, this shouldn't be shorthand or no hand, as it were. And as I look through those, that's my concern with that.
Okay. I'll start, thank you. I'll start with with this video first. I think this is being done by Mr. Scanlon, I think he came up with the idea of none of the equipment there or the recording information that's being used right now belongs to the city. All of that is being provided by Mr. Scanlon.
However, if it's on the city website, then it becomes part of the city, and the citizens have a right to.
Right, because of the record, right? And I was saying we don't, when it's posted to the city website, yes. As far as the quality, we all know these are really important. So
right.
So that's like I said about the sound recording. It can be noted that the records, we don't have to approve it if you want your discussion about this candidate's absence to be noted in the written record here.
Yes.
That's fine. That's something that
we can actually go to the video and potentially do a transcription of that. But my concern is that as I even going through that, Mayor, I've seen some other minutes that have come, and it has things like items were discussed. That quick. If we are going to, I'm sorry.
No, I purposely did that because it got over detailed. It kept chasing the rabbit. So in order to keep the minutes to a minimum, in justification of the reason why I could go to YouTube, because it began to start to repeat itself. I tried to do the best I can. After a certain amount of time, it's hard to capture everything. I try to listen to the YouTube. I try to pull out some of the important words. So if that's the problem, I'll do that. But from here on out, you may need to look for a minute taker, because I'm not a stenographer, and that's what you need, if that's what you want.
Well, what I'm saying, and let me say,
you want, you need a stenographer.
Well, what I'm saying, Ms. Mustin, please do not take offense to what I'm saying, because well then take offense, but let's rectify the situation. If you want to take offense, then that's well and good. The purpose of the minutes is so that when we go back and retroactively review this, then there's some historicity that we can look at. I was going to suggest that if that's the case, and I understand how at times this stuff goes round and round, I do understand that. Maybe we can record it and we can look for someone to do transcription to aid you in that process so that we can have the minutes down. Understand what I'm saying is, it is not an accusatory thing. This is something that I've seen, and I want to rectify it moving forward, especially if we want our citizens to be well aware of it. Thank you for saying that was, I didn't know who wrote it. I had no idea who took that.
Well, I'm sitting here.
But so does Miss Taft. Miss Taft. So does Miss Taft.
Okay.
So I didn't know who wrote it. You can believe it or not. That is, stop, please. That is that. Because let me tell you what we get here. I don't know a lot of you from Adam. I would like to know you from Adam. And ever since I've begun in this position, this type of behavior is what I have received. I have done nothing to warrant this type of behavior. I speak to everyone as I come in. I consider you. I understand that you've been here for a long time and you're doing a job. I comment that, I compliment you, but I have not done anything that necessitates this behavior towards me. And at this point, what you're seeing right now is the culmination of continuous angst and attitude that I get for no reason. I'm here to do a job. I wanna do it, and I wanna do it well. And I want to help facilitate what we have to do. But we have got to stop this. We have got to stop this. This is not gonna be beneficial for anyone here at all. It doesn't bode well for us as working from City Hall to here. We are not the enemies of each other. We're here to work together for the benefit of the Spencer residents. We must remember that. But I refuse to continue taking that kind of behavior.
All right, let's get back.
And I am not one of your students, and I will be professional in my opinion. I was letting you know how I was taking the minute. If there was an issue, I can amend it. That's all that needs to be said. I amended the correction from the last minute. If that's what you're wanting, just ask for an amendment. But don't say that something is missing and I'm not capturing the details. And because of the rhetoric that goes on, it's really frustrating to try to take them point by point. The city can't afford a stenographer. So I'm doing the best I can with this.
No,
And
Okay.
I would like to be respected as well. So I'm polite to everyone as well, and I'm professional with everyone. But I don't want to be talked to like I'm a third grader or one of your students. I am not that.
I don't believe I've ever spoken to you in that vein. I
No,
speak
you
to
did
you
just then.
because I'm looking at this.
Yeah.
So what we can say is, I hear you, Ms. Mustin, and I understand, and we can come to the conclusion that we can devise a situation to do it. If I can help, I'm willing to help.
Okay, here we go.
Thank you.
Here we go.
So 6.2,
So what we got is that the point has been made about correction of 6.1, so we're just table 6.1. What's the issue with 6.2?
well, in 6.2, my issue is that on all of this, it says to refer to the YouTube video, and it doesn't have even the basics minutes in it. And my big concern here is that by law, if a citizen comes down here and requests the minutes from the meeting, they're supposed to be given the minutes. Each month, those minutes are supposed to be signed off, and at the bottom, they're supposed to be signed and stamped, and then it's supposed to be filed away in a book of minutes. So that it doesn't matter if it's 6 months from now or a year from now, our attorneys, our council people, any of you could come down and request the minutes from that particular meeting. And by putting them on YouTube, which, as it's already been brought up, it's hard to hear because we have not had proper working equipment for 4 years. And that is not the fault of anybody sitting here. I think that's part of the point. When the equipment stopped working 4 years ago, we've spent money on all kinds of things. The money should have been spent on a Bluetooth system that immediately would record it and give proper equipment to the staff so that they could do a good job of it, as well as the citizens being able to hear it. But go back to the law part of this. The law is what's required in our minutes. This isn't some, hey, I just kind of like to look up the minutes and find out what happened last year. This is actual law, and that's what was happening right now. There is a whole lot of law to this, of things that were required for the citizens and transparency. We represent the citizens, the staff worked for the citizens, and this is taxpayer funded. We're not a company. So we work for all of the citizens in this town, every one of us. And then those of us, we live here, we're working because of what's required by law to be absolutely transparent to make sure we're following the law. And it came up not all that long ago in a meeting that we had about a rodeo arena and what was voted on and what wasn't voted on. Unfortunately, that meeting was done on a live Facebook video, and all the Facebook videos had been taken down. So I was not able to take that Facebook video and take it to the city attorney or anybody doing minutes and say, this is actually what's said. You probably couldn't hear it because it happened over at Senior Center, and I don't think any of us could hear it that night. So not having those minutes for anybody to look at, either in proper form or the copied from Facebook, which is public record, the minute it went on the public city Spencer Facebook site, that is a record. And it is the best record that we have, thanks to what Mr. Scanlon suggested about 3 years ago, and it needs to be re-implemented, and back up to where the citizens and the city attorney and everybody has access to those minutes. And all those minutes took place when the equipment hasn't been working.
Okay, so we can keep on going.
But you realize you can't approve something when you don't know what the minutes were.
Let me finish what I was getting. So what you're, to summarize what you're trying to say is you would like to have a little bit more detail in 6.2.
Have you read it?
I'm asking you for.
I'm seriously asking, have you read the minutes?
I did,
Okay.
but I'm asking what you're asking for in table 6.2 is a little bit more detail in 6.2.
We're going to have to go back through and have minutes from the recording, but if the recordings were properly done,
if we're asking.
what is the solution? We're gonna go on to the next item, and it's not on, which I did request, wait a minute, you asked me a question. You asked what the solution is. The solution is, I asked for this item to be on the agenda tonight to discuss the equipment failure. And it's not on the agenda. I emailed, I've asked twice for it, it's not on tonight's agenda. So we keep telling the citizens, we've been telling them, I'm sorry you can't hear the meeting, I'm sorry you can't hear the meeting, we know you can't hear the meeting, I'm sorry you can't hear the meeting, but we're not solving it. We're not being fair to the citizens.
We have an AV gentleman coming out next Monday to check it, but we couldn't get that done because we didn't have a budget passed, so we didn't know if we would be able to pay him. But once we got your budget passed on Tuesday, I set the appointment for an AV person to come out to give us a quote on how much it would be to replace our entire system and to update our mics. But I had to wait until the budget was passed.
And I completely understand that, but you have to understand we've gone through 4 budget sessions prior. That's why it's not
I didn't
about.
create that at all. I'm just saying I couldn't get anyone to come unless I had a budget. But they are coming on Tuesday, and they should be able to give us a quote on how we're going to be able to get it fixed. It was broken when I got here in January.
That's
right. It
right.
hasn't worked consistently since I've been here, but I am working diligently to get it fixed. But I could not get anyone to come out to give me a quote because we did not have a budget that had been approved by council. They will be here next Tuesday.
And to that point, it is not, this just goes back exactly to the discussion that just came up. This has nothing to do with the employees. This council has known about these problems. The employees can only do the best that they can. Your own employees can only do the best that they can with the equipment.
We need to stay on our agenda item, which is the minutes, not what the
we
council. We
can't look at the minutes because we've continued to ignore the problem.
So the problem has been given a solution by Ms. Jackson with having an audio video person coming out.
Well, we've done that.
But she.
No, we did that 2 years ago. It didn't get fixed. It didn't get fixed.
Were you on the council last 2 years ago?
Yes.
No, you weren't.
Yes.
This is my second term. When I ran in 2017, I defeated you. So you weren't on council 2 years ago.
I was on council 2 years ago.
How? We ran against each other in 2017.
What's this year?
Okay,
What year is it?
But anyway, here we go.
What year is this?
Okay, here we go. Here we go.
You're arguing about not fixing something.
The problem is getting the audio video systems checked. You would like on item 6.2 to have a little bit more meat on the agenda item. We're gonna ask Ms. Munson to put a little more meat on 6.1 and 6.2 to address those issues. Okay. Now, moving down to 6.3, approve ratification of the June 2021 bi-weekly payroll of the accounts payable. That was moved down.
It shows 0 on the part. There's 0 work done on the part.
Bi-weekly payroll and accounts payable.
No, on our parks report, we talked about payroll, but we're showing that there was 0 work performed at all in the parks in June 2021.
That's just a report. What we're talking about is the
How do I know that somebody gets paid for something if there was no work done?
I make a motion to approve agenda item 6.3, the bi-weekly payroll and accounts payable.
I'll second. Can I get a vote, please?
Trustee Councilmember Kennedy.
No.
Trustee Councilman Nazir. Yes. Trustee Councilmember Williams. No. Vice Chairman, Vice Mayor Stanley.
Yes.
Chairman, Mayor Gallagher.
Yes. Item number 8 on our council agenda, and I believe it's, 7 on our business agenda. It was just the sanitation bid, 2, discussion, consideration, and possible action on business items to direct city staff to take appropriate action on item 8.1, sanitation bids, recommended company, public services. On the utility authority is the 7.1 sanitation bids, recommended company, public services. Mr. Long.
Is it safe?
Yes, sir.
It's never safe, sir. You should know that.
I've always told, if there's any question, throw your hat in the door first. That's funny, it's all right to laugh. As the council is well aware, a year ago, a little bit longer than that actually, the council authorized the city management, their bids and specifications to go out for sanitation, collection and disposal. That was done. Bids were received, but right in the middle of all that, we had the COVID experience and began to really push the limit on the companies. If you had elected to go with another bidder to deliver parts in a timely manner. We discussed that, and we felt like we did not want to risk, in the event of a change, the possibility of not having carts delivered in a timely manner to the citizens of this community, as well as commercial accounts. Council at that time withdrew the bids. We notified all bidders what the decision that had been made, and then we came back and council authorized to extend waste management's contract by a 12-month period, which expires approximately the first week of October. That being the case, council said at that point in time, we wanted to re-advertise again and go out and solicit bids for those firms that might be interested in bidding the project, residential and commercial. That has been done. The City of Spencer, in regular session, May the 20th of 2021, authorized the Office of the City Manager to prepare a request for proposals for solid waste collection and disposal. Sealed bids were received by the City of Spencer and Spencer Utilities Authority until 4 p.m. Wednesday, June the 30th. A mandatory pre-meeting was scheduled for Monday, June the 21st at 10 a.m. in this chamber to discuss and go over the specifications, documentation, bid package, and every aspect that would be reviewed and evaluated in that process. We had 3 firms attend that meeting. We had Waste Management, our present collector, we had Republic Services, and we had WCA, which has changed its name to Green Valley or something like that, but it's WCA, and you're very familiar with WCA. Those 3 firms were represented at that meeting. We had an incredible meeting, lots of good questions were asked. We gave the possible bidders opportunities to ask questions. We took time to ask questions of them. We discussed the future and additional services that potentially could be provided at a later date. And from that, those companies elected to submit bids on the Wednesday the 4th of June 30th. Those 3 companies actually submitted bids for our project. They were advised at that time those bids would be open at a point in time. We would review those bids, we would look at those bids, we would submit that information to council, and you would make the decision on the direction that you wanted to pursue. That being the case, I can tell you that we literally got 3 incredible firms to submit bids for our service. As you're intimately aware, Waste Management has handled sanitation disposal in Spencer for the past 26 years. We have the Republic, who works extensively in a lot of communities in this metropolitan area and the state as well. And then WCA, they have accounts in this area as well. Now, for the purposes of this meeting tonight, I'm only going to be talking about 2 firms because the high bidder was WCA in residential and commercial. So I am not going to be addressing their bid tonight. But in reviewing the documentation, everything was submitted in accordance with the requirements. All documentation was contained in the bid packet, and I commend all 3 firms for their astute professionalism in putting their bid package together. It's very easy to read, it's very simple, all forms filled out, all documentation signed. The information that's required by the state was contained in the packet, so everything was in order by all 3 companies. So we were very fortunate to have 3 competent contractors bidding on this project. Now, what I'm going to do is highlight some things that I want you to be aware of. First of all, when we're looking at the approximate combined accounts of residential and commercial, that is a fluid number because people are moving in, moving out, businesses closing, new businesses coming in. So the number I will give you is a rough estimate of typically the average accounts that we will deal with in City Hall. That total ranges between 1,457 to 1,461. And again, that's a fluid number. It changes, it'll go a little higher, it'll dip a little lower, but that's kind of the mean average of what you're going to look at. In the residential, you're typically going to be looking at 1,402 accounts on the average. Again, that's a fluid number. It fluctuates on people moving in and moving out. On the commercial, you have a total of 53 commercial accounts. Republic's bid was, for the commercial, $8,803.91. Waste Management was $7,359.69. It's a little higher, it's $1,444 higher on Republic's bid for commercial. But when you look at the 1,404 residential accounts, Republic was the low bid, representing $15,308.50, compared to $16,430.19, giving you a difference of $1,121, meaning the Republic was $1,121 lower than Waste Management on residential. So what you have is a split bid. If you combine the bids, you're looking at a rough average of Waste Management roughly being about $3,000 lower all the way around of Waste Management and Republic. And there's some variables in there. Number one, you have the landfill that's nearby. Secondly, annually, we get a number of vouchers that people can use to go to the landfill. And that is something you would probably want to consider in all of this. But you see the recommendation that management made was Republic. So you have to ask yourself, why was it believed they were the lowest and best bid? Because the lion's share of all of your accounts is residential. 1,404 accounts versus 53 accounts. So if you accept Republic's bid, you're going to be able to maintain and keep your rates relatively close to where they are now. The commercial rates, the 53, will go up a little. Not overwhelming, but they will go up. So when this was looked at and reviewed and evaluated, the real question was this: who should get the benefit in this bid process? Your residential or your commercial accounts? So that's the issue, and that's the question that you have to respond to. This is a 5-year contract, and there is a sample contract in there. And what you would do this evening, if you decide to go ahead and authorize negotiations, then that process would begin. And we would come back to you at a later date and bring you a contract for your review and consideration. So what you would be doing tonight, if you elected to go ahead and authorize a contractual pursuit, then that would be your motion tonight, and then also you'd be making the motion who you would like us to sit down and begin that negotiating process with. Now, we have both contractors here tonight. They were invited tonight. And we have Ms. Crystal Bennett, who represents Republic Services, with us this evening. And she is the manager of all municipal services in the metropolitan and surrounding area.
Correct.
We have Mr. Rick Paget with Waste Management with us this evening. And if you have any questions of him, then he would be more than happy to visit with you. And I will say this to you: I have had a unique opportunity to visit and work with both. And again, we did get some good bids. And that's unusual. You don't always get that. So I'm very thankful that they were able to come tonight, and they're here to answer any questions that you might have. And Crystal, was there anyone else from your?
Yes, so I brought David, came with me, he's the GM here in Oklahoma City, so he wanted to come, David Baker. So in case you do have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them. I know I handed my cards out. Any questions, we're happy to help you with. We service Jones, Nakoma Park in this area. We have for years and years. We really, when we go into a city, we look at it as a partnership. We saw that you had scholarships and that you're really involved in the community, and we like being involved in the communities that we're in. We look at it like we want to grow with you. And a couple of things about Republic Services, just really quickly. We are 99% reliable pickup, which means you don't have to worry. If you know you're supposed to get a pickup on a day, you don't have to worry and wonder if it's going to be picked up. We are 39% safer than the industry average, which is great for you because you know when we're in your community that our drivers are safe and you don't have to worry about your kids and your families out on the road. So we really take ownership of joining. We feel like it's great pride to be asked to join a city and serve them. So, I mean, I know some of the things, it's always hard when you have to say, oh, they may have to pay more. I know that you think that it's difficult to have to do that, but we really try to focus on the residents and trying to keep that rate as value-based as possible.
Quick question for you. How long would it take you to, get cards out to residences?
So it would not take us, we can mobilize that immediately with Republic. So Republic Services, like Waste Management, we're in 41 different states. We have 14 million customers. We do 5 million pickups a day. So we have the inventory and we have the ability to get the carts, get the containers, our big thing is communication and communication with your residents and with you all. So we really pride ourselves on the communication process. So we would sit down with you, work out the game plan, really communicate to the residents, send them postcards, let things go out in their invoices. We put information packets when we delivered their carts, what their days were, just really a lot of information. But as far as mobilizing, there's no problem at all.
Do you have a voucher system?
So we would be happy, we would mirror whatever voucher system that you're currently doing. We like to make it as easy as possible, so we try to mirror whatever you've been doing so it's not confusing to your residents.
But where would that voucher then go to? Where would the citizens have to take the trash to?
So it's 6 miles that way. It's at the southeast landfill, so it's 6 miles.
How many big trash days would you be giving us? Right now, we're going to 3 months.
Yes, so for bulk trash days, yep, absolutely. And we've already kind of looked at, I know Christmas is a big thing, it's a big thing for a lot of people, so we were already kind of looking at the schedule, like when we could, we can definitely start booking those trash days. Usually I do that and then and give them to you a year in advance so we can continually get that information out to the customers so they know when their bulk days are.
One of the concerns I had with our current services, we had talked about, we were promising an audit account across the city so that we could straighten up our billing. Sometimes people move out, the next door neighbor grabs the cart. He's got 2, the new person moves in, they have none once delivered. That didn't happen as best of my knowledge. Now, let me ask you about the carts. Would we have new carts or?
Yes, they would be new. Yes, sir. And I will tell you, we do audits all the time. I just finished an audit in Midwest City because we do service Midwest City as well. So we do those audits continually, and we actually keep a log of what comes in and goes out. And we try, and so at the end of the month, before billing goes out, we always get with your finance department and we match those numbers up. And then when those numbers don't match up, we are out doing an audit just to make sure. And it's always good because, like you said, somebody will steal a car, and you just to make sure that everybody's being accounted for and they're getting what they're paying for, right? So.
Holidays. Waste Management's been pretty good about not missing our Wednesday pickup days because of the Monday holiday. But how will your company handle those?
So normal on holidays, which is kind of weird this year because most of it falls on the weekend this year, but normally, like if you had a pickup day, you would be picked up the very next day. So it would move one day.
We want to hear from Mr. Patrick also.
Yes, so Vice Mayor Stanley, just to address the discussions we had with regarding to the audits, with COVID, as you can imagine, I've spent a lot of time at that window working with Nicole and her staff, as she's been on now for, I guess, close to a year. So she and I have done and worked closely together to revise the data. We found a bunch of data issues where the carts were in your system listed as a business when it was really residential, and that made us different. So we have done a lot to clear up the data. I'm in contact with her daily with regards to commercial businesses too. I'm always calling her because our girl will say, look, well, for example, Heavenly Barbecue over here, they're paying for service twice a week, and they were open for a while, but I don't know if they're working out the food trucks. So I called her and said, hey, our driver says there's no trash here, so what do we need to do? So a lot of that work's going on. We finally worked through Huey's help before he left, and the mayor and I met with Nicole when she first came on board to get the data from your customer base in an Excel file. It took a long time to do. And she worked closely with us, so we now have it in an Excel file. So the data it's an ongoing process, but a lot of work has been done. So one of the things when we did the evaluations, and when you did the evaluations, the number of homes and businesses, it's fairly clean right now, so we're happy with the representation. I would just say one of the things, and I don't want to take a lot of time, but you know, we've been servicing the community for 26 years. When you combine both bids, we're still a low bid. If the city of Spencer decided to bill the residents the same rate they're billing them now, and the businesses the same rate they're billing them now, you're gonna save $4,000 a year or $20,000 over the life of the contract, if you choose to do that. Regardless of what happens, I mean, you know, we've had some issues during COVID and the pandemic, as most companies have. Staffing is a challenge, okay? I will say one of the things I'm most proud of, and you can talk to Cecilia or any of the folks in the office. I'm half a mile down the road, our office there, our landfill's there, so your citizens don't have to go over half a mile to do the vouchers. So when we have had issues, I think for the most part, we've done a good job of being responsive, right? But it's been a challenge. So we're dealing with 2 residuals from the October ice storm and the February freeze, right? So there's a lot of bulk and brush out. When the county came and worked with the city and did a lot of stuff, but stuff is still coming out way more than we're required to pick up. Some citizens understand, some are frustrated, and we understand that. So, and it's not anybody's fault, it's just happened, okay? So, you know, we would hope you would reconsider. We've got a proven track record for 26 years, and our price is lower. So we would hope you would stay with Waste Management. I will tell you this, if you don't, we respect your decision, and we'll work. Our contract ends October 11th, and we'll finish strong, and we'll work with city staff and the new contractor to make a smooth transition. It's not always that easy, so you have that. As much as we might try to do that, you still have the option for service interruption and issues when you're changing contractors. So I would just ask you to consider and staying with us. We've been here for 26 years, we're going to be here. And our overall proposed rate combined, you verified it, correct? It's less expensive. So I mean, you can do what you want, but we like this community. We've been here for you through a lot of stuff. Trust me. We started this contract in '95, and it's a good little contract. It's kind of like our neighbor. The landfill's right down the street. So anyway, I would, you know, hope you would stay with us. If you don't, we respect whatever decision you make.
It's an interesting, even when you say you're our neighbor, and my biggest reason for wanting to keep you is because I don't want my citizens to have to drive 6 miles each direction to go dump off a load of trash. And I don't like what the trash trucks do to the roads. It's very hard on roads, and so now you're asking all of our city trash to be carried across 6 miles further. And at the same time, I'm one of the first to complain that we have a dump as a neighbor. So it's hard, it is hard to say, yay, you're close. But for most of the people that I know, they're very happy with what you all picked up all the way through the ice storm. And I am, especially with the number of calls that I've got, I'm really thankful that you guys jumped in and did that.
If we want to, if we want to look at, in this climate, we know inflation is happening, it's about to happen, it's happening. But if we're looking at our households, that's a consideration to talk about the residents. We want to make sure that these decisions, that they don't affect them, that's our consideration. And you're right, Mr. Long, that the balance in all of these decisions have to weigh and defer to that of our citizens and our residents. So if we're looking at potentially saving $4,000 and $20K for the duration of the contract, that's a significant thing. If we're saying it's going to stay the same, I mean, it's cost, if we can consider that. What do you think, Mr. Scanlon?
One of the things, we're trying to improve the appearance of our town. And having new carts is really attractive to me. A lot of the carts out there, they've been crushed, they've been broken in. They're just pretty ugly by now. That's one consideration, but another one is, Mr. Paget, Waste Management has been pretty responsive. Like, I'm thinking of the recycle bins in front of the senior center. When the call's been put out, it needs to be empty, y'all have been pretty good about it.
Yeah, that's one of the things, and I don't know what's in everybody else's proposal. Trust me, you guys got a tough decision, because we're a good company for 26 years out here, and they're a good company, and it's $20,000 less overall. But one of the things that's in our proposal, we have that container that's out there, it's been out there, and we haul it 3 times a month on average. Right now, it's scheduled actually every other Tuesdays when it's hauled, because remember when we tried to cut back, and you had to call me and say, hey, it's filling up, and a lot of that is used by our senior citizens out here, and they're very vocal, which, that's good. We like vocal sometimes, so that's part of our proposal as well, to continue that service. One of the things I think that we want to try to do, if you renew with Waste Management, I want to move the container, put a smaller one up by the police station, near the police station, so because it's kind of unmanned back there, right? So we have a lot of contamination because it's just unmanned. But if we put it up here, maybe by closer to the police station, and we empty it weekly, it'll be the same service, but we'll be able to, maybe the police can not really keep an eye on it, but there's a perception if you're at the police station, people are going to try to maybe do the right things, right? And we need to update some signage on that as well. But that's part of our proposal.
Mrs. Bennett, yeah, the recycle bins provided by Waste Management by our senior center are really big help, and a lot of people like using them. Would Public Services be willing to give us a recycle bin?
Yeah, we have already, it was in our proposal, absolutely. We actually have a recycle bins like that in Edmond and Moore and Newcastle. We do that in all of those cities. So yes.
In deference to what Mr. Scanlon said, Mr. Paget, he said that he's concerned about the beautification out here. So is there something that you can do to help with that unsightly thing, the unsightlies that are going on with the trash bin?
Yeah, so we're talking about putting a smaller container and picking it up weekly, so there's no overflow. Because it's on overflow and put it by the police station as well. One of the things that we've also been doing is, Nicole and her staff put it out before, anybody who needs a cart, if they're broken or needs something, put it in the city newsletter, so we've been replacing a lot of carts, okay? And you're right, there's some people that just don't call. If you drive down the street and go, oh, that looks bad, right? So we don't just randomly go do that, but we've been replacing a couple of hundred every 2 months of carts where we've asked citizens, we put the word out, hey, your cart's broken, the wheels off, lid's bad, let us know, and we'll replace it. So that's an ongoing process.
Okay.
Let me, thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry. What I was trying to get to is, we were talking about the difference in commercial versus residential. We've got 70 new homes that are coming in. And that's going to balance out the difference between the commercial and the residential cost, because that's going to create more cost by putting more bins in this new neighborhood. And so we've got more residential coming in versus newer commercial. So that revenue that's going to come in from that commercial will offset the difference between the commercial.
Yeah, the difference between the residential, it's 90 cents a month between Waste Management's residential new proposed rate and the other rate, so it's 90 cents a month. Right. So,
But you're saving our businesses.
Saving businesses.
you're saving it.
And that's our tax base.
Hopefully there's businesses coming in as well.
Yeah.
Although we can use them.
Right, definitely. Definitely, we don't want to do anything, but what I'm getting at is, there's going to be some cost differences that's gonna be offset by new residences that you know, and if we can, if the city can continue to do some good things, we can hopefully get more commercial. That's definitely something that we're strongly working toward. But I just wanted to give that, make sure we understand too that there's gonna be some cost savings on the residential side that's going to help us long term also.
But it's $4,000, you're talking $20,000 over
5 years.
5 years. So you're saving the city total. If we're charging our businesses more, they have to charge our citizens more. If we're charging our businesses more and we're not competitive and we lose businesses because they want to go someplace where the trash is 90 cents cheaper, then we're losing a tax base. We can't penalize the businesses who always pay their bills for an amount that's revolving that we have had nonstop in the residential market where there is more uncertainty. We want the businesses and we want to be saying, please, we are business friendly.
Right. I get that. I'm not discounting the businesses. Where I'm getting at is that some of the cost savings are going to start balancing out, and that's my point. Is that they are going to balance out.
I'm sorry, I will say that rate still is a very competitive, business-friendly rate. When you look at other cities and what their rates are commercially, that still is a great rate. It's not like you wouldn't be competitive with another city whatsoever. I mean, that rate still brings in that's still a very good rate. When you look at open market rates, they're probably double what your rate is.
I can see that, but
Yeah.
I still have to say, if somebody asked me why I would choose one over another when one's
Right.
$4,000 more, I mean, they're trash cans. People are not going to be that concerned with actually who's doing the trash as long as it's picked up and it was the best deal we were able to agree on. I just can't see saying, I'm gonna spend $4,000 more of taxpayer money just to change companies. I personally I can't do that, but that's just me. I'm only one person.
Yeah, I would just say, in closing that, you know, we always give $2,000, $1,000 scholarship to Spencer High School, to seniors every single year. We've got to close this landfill, we provide the, so it'll be easier for citizens. When we talk about cleanliness and community beautification, you know, it's a lot easier to go over there. We support Unity Days, the Easter egg hunt, Greenland Park. We've supported Spencer Historical Society, our new friends over here. So, and that's not just something we put on paper, that's something we've done for 26 years. Okay? So if we're more competitive, it's very close, right? But we've got a proven track record, and we appreciate you guys consider staying with us.
I think Ms. Baker was trying to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight, right, so we're not oblivious to the fact that they've been here for a long time, right, but our rate is slightly higher, right, our service is second to none, right, when we talk about being a part of the community, right, that's something that is not the talk, right, you'll see Crystal, you'll see me, you'll see we're highly visible, right? You have council meetings, you have beautification meetings, right? When we join a city, right? That is a hard commitment. We're dedicated to being a part of you guys and growing with you, right? If your goal is to grow residential, right, and bring residents and commercial businesses here, right? Your goal is our goal, right? We're here to partner with you. This is not a your thing, our thing, we're in this thing with you, and I think that's really important, right? That it's important to see our supervisor trucks, our manager trucks riding around and having real conversations with your residents, right? If you got a problem with your bolt, right? It's not like call somebody and maybe you get a response. No, we'll send somebody out here. Let's talk to the resident and get it resolved, right? If there's an issue with, hey, this is how much we take, or this is what, like, the personal touch that we put on it, right, is second to none. Second thing is, we talk about beautification, right? We're gonna put brand new, right, shiny new cars here in the city. And that's not a one-time deal, right? We don't have to do an audit to come here and say, hey, we need a new car here. Our drivers take pride in what we do, right? When they wear that star, when they put that star on their shirt, that's pride, right? We love it, we bleed blue, and so we see a car that needs to be repaired. We're not waiting for a resident to call that in and say, hey, that car's got a broken lid, or that car's got a broken wheel, right? Our drivers are calling that in and saying, hey, we need to get out here and replace this car. That personal touch and that beautification and keeping your cities and streets looking the way that you want them to, that's not just on your residents, right? We take that personally, that's our responsibility. Our drivers take it serious, and so that's the type of partnership that we're trying to have with the city. We're a little bit higher, but the partnership that we're gonna, right? The roll-off containers and the recycle bins and the scholarships, right? We all can do that. There's no doubt about it. But this is really about who you want to be long-term partners with, right? And we feel like we're a superior company to do that.
Do you do those scholarships in Jones?
100%.
No, not Jones. I do the scholarships for SWASU, but I do a lot of things in Jones. We do Pioneer Days. I like they're healthy, like they have a healthy. Old Timer Day, yes. Yeah, Old Timer Day. We have a great relationship with the city of Jones. Like I said, I see them all the time. Our drivers, when they're done at every route, they always come in City Hall and check in with you, just in case there's somebody that's called in or something's happened, so they can catch it before they leave. And what David was saying, when we deliver carts every week, if there's a broken cart, we deliver those every week to residents, right? Because we don't want them to be sitting there with a broken cart trying to drag one up and back. But we give scholarships out at SWASU, and for Weatherford I do. But I've given to the schools up here. I've done the blue.
I was just thinking of the town that's our neighbor.
Yeah,
Jones is our neighbor. I'm in Jones a lot. I see your carts.
Yeah.
So personally, yours are blue, these are green.
Right.
I honestly have never seen anything that I could say, I paid $4,000 more for the look of that cart.
Right.
And I'm trying to understand here what
I
the
think
tremendous thing is different that you're doing in Jones that you'd be doing for here.
Right. I can tell you that they renegotiated with us the partnership because they wanted to keep us. The same thing with Nakoma Park. We have not gone to bid with them because they want to keep us because of the partnership. When the storm came through, we helped get Nakoma Park cleaned up. We helped them get all their FEMA stuff done. We worked together with them, with FEMA, to get everything taken care of. So I think it's probably a little bit different because it would be cheaper for your residents. It's still a competitive rate for your businesses, but the rate is cheaper for your residents. So, if you're trying to draw people to your town, that's the best way. And that's why we value the resident. It's not that we don't value the businesses. We absolutely do, but you're still getting a competitive rate on the business. It's not like it's not a competitive rate.
So it's cheaper as long as they don't have to drive the
we'll be here 4 times a year for bulk. We'll be here every week picking up. You get several roll-offs. It's the coupon thing it is the coupon that we're talking about, them driving back and forth. Am I correct? Is that what you're referring to?
The coupon voucher to drive back and forth or to even do business, but we look at the roads. If you drive down Northeast 36th Street and you look at the damage done by these trash trucks, then you're talking about now those trash trucks are going round trip 12 miles over our roads, and it concerns me. The fuel, the consumption, having the trucks on the road, and what those trash trucks leave behind. So that's my only two things that I'm looking at is $4,000 higher and trying not to put pollution out all over the place. A trash truck going 6 miles further or 12 miles round trip.
Well, it would be the trash truck, right? Are you talking about your people driving up there or our trash truck?
Well, both, your trash trucks will still be doing the 12 miles around.
Waste management still has to drive in and out of the city as well. I mean, all trash trucks are gonna have to drive in and out of the city.
No, I'm just looking at the distance, the amount of, as an Oklahoma County resident, who travels these roads all outside of Spencer as well. When they're driving now 12 miles, that's 12 miles of tonnage the trucks are on versus trash that's coming out of Spencer that's just going right here. And so that was my overall concern, is trying to be environmentally friendly. Do I say it's $4,000 cheaper and we're not putting the truck on the road that far? That was my thought.
Okay, there are no other questions, I think, or you have any other comments? Ms. I'll take a motion.
Well, what is,
Staff,
what we're voting on exactly here?
I think staff has indicated that their recommendation is public.
So we're voting whether or not to go with the recommendation.
No, you would be voting for who would make a motion as to who we're gonna choose. I mean, staff puts in a recommendation, doesn't have notes as to why.
Before we go, I just think, that 20,000 is a big concern for us. I mean, for me, for the citizen, over the duration of it. I want to be able to answer to them about that.
All right, thank you. No. So, we'll take a motion.
I'd take a motion to accept the waste management contract. The WCA of Oklahoma LLC.
I'm gonna second that.
No, it's you waste management.
Waste management.
I mean,
Waste management.
Yeah.
That was two
different things, yeah. I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Can I get a roll, please?
I'm 8.1. Is this just to take the proposal?
Oh, you're right, Ms. Weston is right.
Or
Is it to
It's
pursue
to, the motion,
the contract?
is to direct staff to work on a contract.
Let's say proceed, would we proceed with the contract?
Yeah, I think the motion is to choose one of them and then direct staff to proceed negotiating. Drafting the contract.
So the proper word is a motion, my motion is to proceed with the contract with waste management.
Second. Yes,
Is that motion and a second?
And the contract then will be brought back for approved final approval.
Yeah, after doing this.
Trustee Councilmember Kennedy.
Yes.
Trustee Councilmember Fair.
Yes.
Trustee Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Vice Chairman, Vice Mayor Scanlon.
Yes.
Chairman Mayor Calvin.
Okay, the motion passes. Item number, item number 9 on our agenda is remarks and comments. Ms. Kennedy.
I appreciate seeing so many people here. I think it's really nice to have you out here, and I'm hoping that we can find ways for you to hear us better quickly. And several of you asked about items that would be on tonight's agenda, and I'm sorry they're not there. I'm hoping we will work more together with staff to get these items of concern out there on the agenda. I believe there was 4 I was asked about that aren't on here tonight. And I'm thinking perhaps it was not on there because we had so many meetings with the budget hearings, and staff has been very busy with trying to accommodate all those needs. So I'm hopeful that next month's meeting will address a lot of the concerns that you all are bringing up. One of the biggest concerns, and I think we're going to be upset if I don't ask, is we have not talked about the sewer system, the water system, the flooding system that happened all through our town, and it has left a real tremendous mess. So I'm hoping that we're going to be addressing that maybe even sooner than next month's meeting, because I know even from my own property how much it has affected and the damage is there. So I'm sorry it's not on there tonight, but I promise you that the staff is concerned too.
I want to use this time to speak directly to Ms. Mustin and ask for your, before everyone, to ask for your forgiveness for how I spoke. As I sat here and thought about that, I put myself in your chair and I said, I don't think you would have liked even the tone. So I believe I could have delivered it better. I believe I could have reacted in a better way. And I ask you for forgiveness for that and promise that I will do better next time. Oh, that's it.
Okay, I'm sorry, that's it. Okay, Ms. Fair. Scan?
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead, scan.
Okay. Our town's reputation is very important. We've been trying for years to improve that reputation. We have done a pretty good job. We were improving good, positive things instead of always being on the negative news. And then the social media attacks have been relentless. They've been brutal. They have attacked the city manager, the city staff. There's been innuendos, distortions, and occasionally flat-out lies. The attacks against me, I don't really care about. The protest didn't bother me. I'm a public official. However, people have been trolling my wife, and going to these different sites, the sites she likes to visit, and going in there and posting negative things about me and about her. We've heard from the realtors. We had one stand up, Jackie Rollins, at a couple of Chamber of Commerce meetings ago, asking, please tone it down. You see, the people from the outside, they're seeing this. They're getting reports. They're going, there is no way we want to come to this town with this kind of mess. And now, with what we did with the budget, we took 5 meetings before we even brought up the budget. 5 scheduled budget meetings, canceled, postponed, delays, and the budget meeting took 2.5 hours. But I don't think we talked about the numbers except for maybe the last half hour or so. It needs to stop. Our town's reputation is hurting badly. The budget thing, missing the budget deadline, that is one of the cardinal rules. You do not miss the budget deadline. My family's been hurt quite a bit by what's going on out there in social media. It's not appreciated. Now, I've been watching the way the last few council sessions have been going, and every time there seems to be arguing, people getting loud, a big hullabaloo, and nothing much really seems to be getting done, except a lot of hard feelings. Speaking of the negative, the lies, the distortions, the divisiveness, I want to point out something. I make $50 a month doing this, okay? I have a full-time, not a job, a career. I'm a senior technical writer for a large company. Why on earth, and I'm 61 years old, I'm nearing retirement, I have enough money, I'm comfortable, I can live on it, I'm not rich, but I don't want to be. Why would I risk my freedom and my reputation and my family's meager little assets to get some little thing out of the city to try to influence things for some corrupt reason? It's getting old. It's been hard on my family. And as of tonight, I'm resigning my position. Some of you will celebrate. That's okay. I think it's going to be a loss for the town. I have done good things to push this town forward. I will continue to support the town as a volunteer. People see me all over town, they will continue to. This camera was set up almost 4 years ago because people were talking about how they didn't trust the council because they were doing things behind closed doors. I started doing this just to bring transparency. This is what's going on. You don't have to come to the council meeting. Watch it on Facebook and now on YouTube. And now there's people looking to try to subpoena or Freedom of Information Act just so they can go fishing and stuff. It's divisive, it's pointless, and it's getting old. If I leave, there'll be 2 and 2 is what it looks like. It shouldn't be that way. It should be 4 or 5. But this way, at least, the first step will be to appoint someone to take my place. Perhaps the council members can work together and find someone who's agreeable to all. If not, it'll come up to another election. And be that as it may, that's the way it's going to run. I apologize to my supporters that I'm having to do this, but it's for my own peace of mind, my wife's peace of mind, to Sandy and my family. We have good things coming to us, and we have good things coming to this town if people let it. But if some people are always, I'm speaking of Tony Kennedy and Lisa Janney, by the way, always find the negatives to bring up, pushing it, pumping it, oh, everything's bad, everything's bad. Everything is getting better. This town is in the best shape it has been in at least a decade, if not more. Just our water system, we have the new inlet pipes on the well stations, the backup generators, the booster pumps, the wall towers, and the smart meters. I started the smart meter program because people didn't trust their water bill, and it turns out they had good reason to. Sometimes they were being estimated. Now we're eliminating the middleman out of that to give accurate billing. Things are looking good. We're going to have a branch of the Metropolitan Library built. We're thinking about doing it on the Quinlan Park grounds. In the meantime, we're going to have a temporary library, not quite bigger than a bookmobile, but much smaller, full-size library, right here somewhere in this line of city properties. Things are, our audit is the best we've had in forever. Our books are straight, our accounting is good. Things are really looking up. But some people just can't stand it that that's happening because they don't, I believe it's because they don't get to have their say with as much control as they'd like to have. I think that's a shame. But in the meantime, I love my wife, I love my family, it's been hard on them, and family comes first. So, as of tonight, I resign. God bless. God bless.
Thank God, follow the law.
So unprofessional.
Very
unprofessional. That is so
inappropriate.
Disrespectful.
Very. Absolutely. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you, I
you for your
appreciate it.
service.
Thank you.
You know, God bless Spencer, Oklahoma, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Jim.
Hold on a second before you guys leave. Let me say something before you guys. I wanted to let me go ahead and just give my comments here. Where I stand is this: I, like Mr. Scanlon, have been vilified and have been called all kinds of different things, but I understand his point. Being a professional, I own my own business. I have to every year come up for relicensure. First thing that comes up under my recertification is ethics. Have you been convicted of a crime? Are you under any kind of investigation? Are you, and to have your professional career that you use to support your family every day. And as Mr. Scanlon said, council member get $50 a month. I'm the highest paid, I get $75 a month. $75 a month. There are people on Facebook saying that I'm stealing blind, the city blind, right? $75 a month. But in the middle of the day, I leave my business and I come to do things for this city, right? And after a while, it does get a little taxing. Mr. Scanlon has done so much for this city.
Yes.
To make sure that we have,
Yes.
that it's continued to move forward. And I hate to see him leave. I really do. When he informed me that he was going to resign tonight, my heart wanted to say or don't do it, but I understand when you get attacked, it's not just you as an individual, it's your family.
Yes.
And the well-being of his family is more important than
Yes.
some people using Facebook or social media just to attack you because of their own personal agendas,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And as you said, being professionals, it does get taxing. But having said all of that, I appreciate the time that he's spent on council. He has been a tireless work for the city, not just on up here, but in his other endeavors across the city. This is a good man. And I've told him personally, and I'm saying it publicly, this has been a good man for this city.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I will give you guys this. And this is part of our personal conversation. I told Mr. Scanlon the first time that I saw him was when we had the very first candidate forum when he and I first ran for election. He said, someone asked him a question in the forum, and he said, I don't know the answer, but I'll give it for you. And at that point, I said, that's a good man. Because he's not going to give you a made-up answer. He's not going to give you an answer that's going to sound good to those that are encouraging him to run. He's going to give you an informed answer.
Yes.
And that's been what he's done the whole time that he's been on this council. And it's a shame that the personal attacks, it's one thing to say, hey, look, I don't really agree with the way with your logic, but the personal has gotten to be too much. And I can tell you personally, I don't do social media. And so let me go ahead and clear that up. Anything, and I think I've heard that some people have said, well, you said this and I saw it on Facebook. I have zero social media presence. Zero. I don't Twitter, I don't TikTok, I don't do Facebook, I don't Snapchat, I don't do any of that mess. Any of it. And so when I hear in the background, oh, I heard on Facebook, did you see it to the point? Where did it come from? Right? But after a while, it gets taxing. It's taxing. And so for the support of his family, I understand and I respect what you did. Would I want him to stay right here? Yes. If I could put him in a headlock and make him stay here and be here next council meeting, I would do it. But I do understand why he's doing it. And it's a shame. It's a shame.
Yes.
That this has happened.
Yes.
And I will tell you this. I read an article. Hold on. Hey, ma'am.
Hey.
Ma'am.
Excuse me.
Hey,
I know everybody.
Hold
she's talking.
on. Let me finish my.
Ma'am, would you please be quiet during the meeting?
She addressed me first.
Right. Okay. Everybody, let's come back to me. Come back to me. Ms. Wise, come back to me, please. Thank you. Okay. This I want to end this. I want to end my conversation this way. I read an article about a month ago, and it talked about municipal government, which is the key to government, period. Because it's down here at the people stage. We see the nonsense at the federal level, and we think that that's the same level we should be conducting ourselves. But at the federal level, they're clowning, but those guys are making $250,000 a year. Down here, we make $50, right? And we're talking about making sure we get our trash picked up. We're talking about making sure we have police officers. We're talking about making sure that our kids are safe. But in this article, he talked about how it's hard to get people that have skill sets that would benefit their communities to run for political office on the municipal level because of the nonsense that is going on right now.
I agree.
Right? Right?
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
And so, and what we've done now is we've driven out a person that has a skill set that was beneficial to this city. There's some issues going on right now that Mr. Scanlon had, based on his previous work history, was beneficial in some of the decision-making stuff that we've had to do. We lose out on those things when we just use Facebook as a way to drive home grievances. I'm gonna say this in my closing right now. I'm not a preacher and I'm not a minister, but I know this. When the devil is busy, that means you're doing something right. And the devil's very busy, so that means things are moving forward. So with that being the case, I wish Mr. Scanlon well. And going forward, we will figure out how to find some reconciliation within this body. We have to, because our city is on the path of greatness.
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
And I can tell you personally, going to meetings and talking to people outside of Spencer that see the things that we're doing, they're always saying, hey, look, you guys are doing some good things over there. We see the change. Keep doing the good work. Keep fighting the good fight. And that's what we're going to continue to do. That's what we're going to continue to do. I just hate the fact that Mr. Scanlon's not going to be there with us as we fight this battle. Thank you, Harvey. With that being the case, yes.
Anybody want to make a motion to advertise for possible candidates?
What do you make a motion?
Some kind of advertisement,
Yeah.
interested.
Okay, can we?
Time for all the time it took us.
Do it since it's not on the agenda?
This is truly new business.
Okay, since it's under new business, we'll go back to new business.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, this is new
this
business.
is truly new business.
New
If you want to
business.
advertise for people who's interested in learning more,
Yes. I'll make a motion that the city staff be directed to put out an advertisement for a new council member to
people who might be interested.
or persons that might be interested in being ward representative for ward. Got a motion?
I'll second that motion. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How are we gonna advertise it, like in Waterville or see it on in the publication?
I think they'll put it in Waterville.
Waterville.
And however.
And maybe on the Facebook, on the
Yeah.
There's no
website?
rule about how to do it, it's how you,
Just,
how you think would be the most effective
okay, I just wanted to,
for,
thank you.
for a couple of different ways, on the website and on the,
In Waterville, okay.
the newspaper would help.
Okay. I got a motion and a second, and a vote, please.
Trustee Councilmember Kennedy?
Yes.
Trustee Councilmember Fair?
Yes.
Trustee Councilmember Williams?
Yes.
Vice Chair, Vice.
Okay,
Chairman Merrick.
yes. And we'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion, I make a